3 prior to, what really kind of resonates about
Yeah, I think
when I get frustrated?
yeah, more than anything, taking care of the basketball, like live ball turnovers, getting quality shots every time down the court. I know you end up sounding like a broken record, but you have to do a better job in taking care of the ball. You got to do a better job in doing what you're supposed to defensively. Like a lot of times you look at it from a schematic approach. Well, this isn't working or whatever. Well, you got to do your job. We got too many breakdowns where people go against our rules, and then we put ourselves in a tough spot that it's hard for us to get out of. So continue to do your job, whether that's an ISO ball screen, whether it's just normal action that a lot of people run, whether you're dealing with the post, whatever. Just stick to our rules and then disrupt the passer. Do a good job on the basketball when he becomes a passer to make it difficult for him, and then also containing the dribble. So if we can do a better job of keeping the ball out of the paint, and we can do a better job of taking care of the basketball, good things will happen for us.
I know you met with guys one-on-one this week. Is that something you normally do during the season? Or?
I'll randomly do it. They normally do it with our assistants and stuff of our individual film, because we want to make sure we keep sending the same messages in terms of what we need to do on both ends of the court.
Why did you feel like you needed to be the one to do it this time?
I normally do it as the season progresses a couple times, during the season. You're always talking to them in film. You're always talking to them when you're preparing. You're always talking to them in practice. So you have a lot of opportunities, but just sitting down, I think sometimes other things can bother players that are outside the game. And so you got to make sure everybody is kind of not fighting themselves. Sometimes you're fighting yourself to get to a point, and you're trying to do it, but other things are bothering you. And so you just want to make sure that they understand through film and through what we're doing and how everything is going, because we've put ourselves in a pretty good position at halftime in these 4 games. It's not like we're out of the game. I think we're actually leading 3 out of the 4 games, and so you're not going to halftime with all right, man, we got to adjust here. You're going to halftime and say, hey, we just got to be better at what we're doing, and then we against Michigan, we actually were pretty good until the end. And at the end, we just had a total breakdown from a defensive standpoint, blocking out standpoint, and just making better decisions. So obviously against Wisconsin, they totally, just went off and exposed us. And we had to be able to make some adjustments there and get stops, and we simply weren't able to do that. So at Indiana, it was just a combination of everything, right? Probably our worst half of basketball. The whole year. Against Michigan State, we're giving up 10 dunks in the game. So we got to keep the ball out of the paint. We got to protect the rim. And when we get too spread out and we're all over the place, it really hurts us. But nobody is good in defensive transition on live ball turnovers. We got to do a better job there. So just a combination of those things, and you got to go. It's like a root canal, man. You got to deal with it, but you got to get through it, and so you can get better.
Trey said he called it just a players only rating. Is that the kind of accountability that you hope is coming through this kind of season?
Yeah, you just want honesty across the board. You got to look at it from a coaching perspective, and be honest with yourself. And a player, especially a competitive player that values winning, he's going to do the same thing. And coaches-led teams are better than are not better than player-led teams. When you get experience and you have players and they're leading, and when what gets said when the coaches aren't around is what's the most important. And I think that's a huge piece for any team, especially when you have some struggles like we've had here in the last couple of weeks.
Kind of a broad question, but there's been a lot made in this changing college basketball landscape about whether or not coaches can still be hard on their teams and have honest conversations and maybe coach their teams where they used to. In times like these, do you feel like you have to acclimate to the times at all, or can you still coach the way you do?
No, you can still coach, but I've always been somebody that has tried to hold guys accountable. You can do it in a lot of different ways. You can be demanding without being demeaning. I think that's the best way to really put it. And that's what we've always tried to do, is just be honest with guys. But you got to get people with that competitive character. And I think we have a high, character in that area, but we haven't shown that here of late, and that's what we got to do a better job. And to me, it just comes down to doing your job and having fun with it, like having fun competing and going at your opponent.
UCLA is really going to guard. Just what makes them pretty good defensively.
Who's that now?
UCLA.
Oh, well, he's a good coach, man. They have a good system. They're very aggressive. They're good on the basketball. They have a lot of interchangeable pieces. They can go smaller and really get into you, and they can go bigger. They can have quickness and size on the floor at the same time. So, more than anything, you got to be able to attack them, with smarts, but you also got to be able to attack them without turning the basketball over. Like they lead our league in forcing the most turnovers. So I think that probably holds true for us more than anything.